Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the medical gases that we use in the hospital. So we've got three of them basically: oxygen, nitrous oxide, and the carbon dioxide. So within Southern Cross, these are kept in the downstairs room, which is just by the entrance in the back entrance. So for the sake of this teaching session, I'll start off by where we know that we are running low with these gases. With in the nursing station rather, we do have a panel which is titled the multi-gas alarm system. On it, there is a display panel which will show us whether we are running low on any of the gases. So if everything is okay, like in most cases, it will just display that all gases, all medical gas supply is normal. And if we start having any alerts like a beep, it shows us that it's low. If it's critically low, this then will just be alarming, not just flashing, to be alarming quite frequently. I think if you are in the office and you hear that sound coming from the panel, you do need to get someone that you can go down with, and you go to change the cylinders. So changing the cylinders, it's quite straightforward. As I said, the storage room for these gases is downstairs, and as per health and safety protocols, these cylinders are in an upright position. The room where they are kept is well aerated. To access that room, you do need to take the control drugs key. This is kept on person by the person who is in charge. The same bunch that we use when we need to check out medications. So two people can go down if it's at night time for safety reasons, obviously. So you get to the room, you unlock that room using the master key, and you check on the cylinders. So for those cylinders that are in use, there will be a tag on them. So when cylinders come in, there's a tag which at the bottom which says full. That obviously comes off when we start using that cylinder, and the one that will be at the bottom will be the in-use one. And so you go and check on the gauge, because these cylinders are attached to a gauge. You check which gauge is running low, and once you're satisfied that you've got a cylinder whose pointer is now at the empty level, you do have to turn the key off. That's all you have to do. You just swing over from whether it's on the left or to the right. You just need to swing over. That changes the supply, so the valve then moves from the empty cylinder to the next one. These gauges are attached to two cylinders at any given time. So once you've moved from the gas cylinder that was in use, you do need to take the tag off to indicate that it is now empty, and the one that we've just started is no longer full because you're starting to supply from that same cylinder. So you do need to take off the full sign, which is the full tag, which is at the bottom. So you rip that off, and what you'll be left with is in use. And if you need to go to the outside gas supply, which is kept locked, the keys for these are within the same room in the downstairs storage space. So you do need to go out there. There's a padlock that you unlock, and once you are in, you do need to also do the same thing. You check where the key, it's a long key, long handle rather, which you swing round pretty much like the one inside, which is left or right, and you do need to tear off the in-use tag to indicate that that particular cylinder is empty, and the other one, which was full, is now in use. The main things to remember is if you are starting a shift on a night shift, you do need to just have a quick glance on the panel. If there's any beeping in the office, it's mainly from this the multi-gas alarm system panel. You do need to check, and sometimes there will be two people on the shift, which makes it difficult to then go downstairs. And I know some nurses are afraid of going downstairs and they don't feel safe, which is okay. So you can ask the people on the PM to go down with one of the nurses. You go change that so that overnight there will be enough of the gases going into the different areas where they need to go to. And if you are on the ward, we do keep oxygen in the treatment room if you need to. Of course, for the rooms, we do have the flow coming through. It's attached from the supplies within the wall, so those are inbuilt. We don't normally have any issues. The only time you may need to use oxygen coming from the treatment room, the cylinder, which is sitting just beside the door. When you open the door, just behind it, there is, or not behind it, very close to the door by the sink, there's a small oxygen cylinder, portable cylinder. That's the one that you can take, and you would need to put the gauge and all the attachment that you need. Otherwise, if that one is run out in PACU, as you go into PACU, on the left hand side they do have a storage space where you can get your oxygen. And obviously you do need to know which one is the oxygen. Is labeled, but it's always good to double check that you've got the correct gas that you need. If there are any issues regarding the oxygen supply, which hasn't occurred, but what you need to know is that you can always ring Paul, who is responsible for those. During the daytime, I understand that they normally deal with the changing of these gases if we run out. And if you've got any questions on our KB, on the new teaching modules, or learning modules rather, they've put a very good and comprehensive video on how to identify the oxygen, the gases, and what can happen if we don't store them properly. And so it would be good if you can also complete that. It's also part of the requirement for this year's learning, our learning requirements. Thank you.